Okay, I have a question for you. What would it look like and feel like if some of the more chaotic aspects of your life currently felt grounded, they felt settled, and you could call that energy in with ease? Well, this Virgo full moon happening in February is definitely one that will help us with doing just that. And with Mars entering the sign of Aquarius, opening up this Aquarius stellium sort of portal in time for us, along with the sun entering the sign of Pisces, bringing in Pisces season. There are a lot of opportunities coming up for us to look at things from a bird's eye view with a bit more creativity, and us being open to also tap into our community to get outside perspectives. Hello friends, it's your girl Alina, and in this video we'll be diving into the 5 things that you need to know all about this upcoming February 24th full moon happening at 5 degrees in the earth sign of Virgo. We'll dive into the nature of this full moon, the sign it's in, what that means for us, ways to align with this energy, and as always at the end I'll offer some custom journal prompts so we can reflect and align together. If you'd like an outline of this and future astrology forecast videos automatically emailed to you, then be sure to sign up for my astrology newsletter. You'll find a link for that in the video description box below. And as I always mention, each lunation and astrological event will impact us differently. So I always suggest for you to find out what house this full moon will fall in your personal charts. This way you can accurately predict what specific areas of our lives will be most influenced with this Virgo full moon energy at this time. So I'll start by showing you each sign and the house that this moon will be landing in for you. And I always suggest checking your rising sign. So go ahead and pause to read. And next up, I am so excited to announce that I will be co-hosting the very first annual Aura-Line retreat happening in Thailand in June of this year. That's right, we are going to Thailand. So in collaboration with Trova Trip, we will be going on this retreat. So if you are not only interested in going on this retreat with me, but also with like-minded, spiritual growth-loving, astrology-loving friends where we can share in the experiences of going on hikes, kayaking, snorkeling, taking a Thai cooking class, meditating on the beach, talking astrology, and so much more, then you definitely have to check out this retreat. Tickets go on sale on the 20th of this month, and I'll actually be doing a Q&A live stream here on my YouTube channel on the 18th, this Sunday, to talk all retreat details and answer any questions that you might have before grabbing your ticket when they go on sale on the 20th. And in addition to the link in my description box below where you can find out all the details on this retreat, I will also be sharing different details and aspects of every single day of the retreat, all the details that you might think of on my Instagram page. So you can go ahead and follow to get all those updates and more. And I don't know about you, but traveling in general is so fun, but the idea of traveling with a group, with like-minded people where we can open up to one another, share our experiences, and learn together. I'm just so deeply grateful that this is even happening, and I'm so excited to do it with you. And with that said, let's dive into this Virgo full moon. So to start, let's talk about the general significance of full moons. So from the perspective of election astrology, which is basically when you time out when to do certain things so that they're in alignment with certain transits and that are complementary and supportive for whatever your endeavors are, the full moon is this monthly auspicious time for us to reflect upon what has and hasn't been working for us and release anything that no longer serves us on our journey. It also offers a lot of energetic support around expressing ourselves, connecting with others, and tapping into our intuition. And this is because the moon strongly impacts our inner worlds. And just as we see that the moon raises the tides, so too can it raise our emotional and intuitive abilities. So while full moons can sometimes feel like a higher energetic time in general, if we choose to do certain things in alignment with its energy, it can often prove to be pretty effective. And this is why you see many people doing full moon rituals, where they take some time to reflect upon their highlights, their challenges, and lessons over the previous 2 weeks of this current lunar cycle, 6 months, or even year. And they'll usually focus on the themes around whatever sign the moon is in at this time, really writing out anything that they're ready to release that no longer serves them on their journey, within those realms. And full moons are also a powerful time to express ourselves on a deeper level, like I mentioned before. And this can be through things like artistic expression, talk therapy, journaling, or opening up to loved ones if we feel called to do so. And I always like to describe full moons as a sort of cosmic spotlight, highlighting areas of our lives and offering energetic support within those realms if we choose to focus our energy in those areas. So with this full moon being in the sign of Virgo, it's known to offer more grounding insights when it comes to seeking order, organization, and mental clarity, especially considering that Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the planet of the brain, of information exchange and processing. Now, from a sort of internal perspective, we might find ourselves and others feeling more inspired to bring things like organization, practicality, and routine structure into different aspects of our lives. And we also might notice things sort of coming to a head when it comes to the way that we're approaching things, where we might sort of throw up our hands and say, there needs to be more consistency. There needs to be more structure in how I'm approaching this thing. And this is where finding out what house this moon will be transiting in your charts comes in, because it'll definitely help when it comes to informing you on what areas of life that this Virgo moon will be influencing and will likely highlight at this time. Now, from a sort of external perspective, a Virgo full moon can be a very powerful time for reflecting on what has and hasn't been working within the realms of Virgo. And a lot of the themes that Virgo can bring in, especially with this type of lunation, is themes of how do we nourish our bodies, highlighting that in our lives, whether that shows up in our health or in how we eat or our movement, how much sunlight we're getting, hydration, things like that. But also, what is the structure within our lives? And I really want to take a moment to note a sort of nuance within the sign of Virgo and the themes that it brings in, especially for this full moon. And that is that I feel like a lot of times we talk about how Virgos are all about order and perfection. And it's important to remember that Virgo is represented by the sort of virgin goddess and really represented by Mother Earth. It's this grounding earth sign. And the thing about Mother Earth, and if we look to the wisdom of nature, we don't see structured boxes and organization and, structured schedules. We see divine balance in nature. When we look to forests and jungles, we don't see that the trees are over here, the grass is over there, the plants are over here. Everything is interconnected. There's a theme of synergy, of interdependence, and how there's a natural balance to things and not necessarily, this is my schedule, everything needs to be in this box, that I feel like can sometimes be the biggest association we have with those keywords of organization with Virgo. And so all of that to say, this full moon in the sign of Virgo is definitely offering us energetic support when it comes to finding balance, whether that be in our schedules, how we approach things, in how we nourish our bodies, and how we find a sense of grounding when it comes to that balance. So if you're already noticing any of these themes in your life, this Virgo full moon can be a very optimal time for acting on those things, making observations of them if you feel called to do so, or just writing things out if you want. Again, this lunation will impact us all differently, so be sure to check what rising sign you have and what house this full moon will be transiting to see what specific areas it will likely be influencing the most. All right, next up, in terms of transits happening around the time of this full moon, we have to extend a special happy birthday to all of our Pisces friends. And this is because on February 18th, we will see that the sun will be transiting away from Aquarius and entering the sign of Pisces, marking the start of Pisces season. Pisces season can be a beautiful time for not only celebrating the Pisces that you have in your life, but also leaning into and exploring the beauty that is Pisces. So in Pisces season, when we see that the sun is in this sign, there can be oftentimes a lot more supportive energy when it comes to our self-introspection, going within, paying reverence and observation of our lives, tapping into our spirituality, our imagination, and holding space for our emotions, as Pisces is a water sign. Now, something that I've talked about before is the perspective of each zodiac sign representing a different age in our lives. And Pisces, as you know, is the last sign in the zodiac wheel before we have the start of the new zodiac year, being marked by Aries season. And I find it so interesting to see that there's so many themes within Pisces season and characteristics of Pisces people that are really in alignment with a lot of the late stages of our lives. We see that later in our lives, we're taking time to really reflect and observe what's going on. We're kind of sitting back and looking at the world from a different perspective than we were at a younger age. The veil feels a bit thinner between this dimension and the next, this life and what comes after. There's usually a lot more curiosity around that, a deeper connection to our spirituality. Pisces season also, again, right before we enter Aries season, is a powerful time for, again, reflecting on the shadows within us, looking into dream journaling, lucid dreaming, exploring those things. I find it no coincidence. I actually have some friends who are Pisces and have strong Pisces placements who have such a strong relationship to their dreams, whether it be that they're curious about what their subconscious is trying to say to them, really leaning into that self-introspection, or they notice that they have prophetic dreams, or they are exploring what it can look like to lucid dream. And so all that to say, this is a beautiful time for exploring those things and also paying reverence and respect and appreciation to people who embody those characteristics. I feel like Pisces can be one of the wisest signs in the zodiac for the reasons that I just listed as well. And so it can be really nice to look at those characteristics, see what we have within us within those, and explore those things if we feel called to do so. I think it's perfect timing as well before the fresh start of the brand new zodiac year when we see the spring equinox, which is when the sun will be entering the sign of Aries at the end of this Pisces season. And last thing about Pisces is that it's also associated with things like empathy, compassion, and intuition, which means that this full moon can be a great time to focus on our relationships and to cultivate deeper understandings for one another. I also think that it's no coincidence. I just saw on a tea bag, there was a note on it, and it said, "Compassion is the pathway to forgiveness." And I don't know who needs to hear that, but that came to mind. All right, next up in terms of transits happening at the time of this full moon, if you've been noticing a growing conversation around the evolution of our culture, along with questions and critical thinking around the powers that be, and maybe even an inner stirring or longing for progress and change in either your immediate world within yourself or our broader community, then this Mars entering the sign of Aquarius on February 13th is a transit that will definitely be amplifying those observations. Now, this is because we see Mars, the planet of action, aggression, and dominance, entering the sign of Aquarius. And it will be joining Venus and Neptune, who are already in that sign, creating an Aquarius stellium. So Aquarius stelliums is a name. So stelliums in general is a name that's given to an astrological occurrence where 3 or more planets are transiting the same sign at the same time. And while this Aquarius stellium will definitely most strongly be impacting anyone with strong Aquarius placements in their charts, most notably anybody with their sun, moon, or rising in those signs, stelliums like this will definitely be felt by everyone. Now, Mars transiting Aquarius on its own is already known to bring in intensity into things like collective desires for change, rebellion against the conventional approaches to things, and bold pursuits for creativity and individuality. And by the way, this transit alone also makes it an opportune time for starting any sort of progressive initiatives, social activism, and forward-thinking endeavors in general in any aspect of our lives. With Venus, the planet of love and harmony, and Pluto, the planet of transformation and empowerment, already being in the sign of Aquarius, this stellium will definitely be fostering an atmosphere that's very ripe for things like revolutionary change, collective empowerment, and the liberation of societal norms. Many of us might feel more compelled to break free from traditional constraints, maybe embrace our unique identities, or contribute to the greater good with any sort of newfound passions or purposes that this transit might spark. So just know that this transit overall will be one that will offer very fertile soil for planting the seeds of actions that we might take right now in alignment with these themes. So things like working in community to support new ways to help one another, offering progressive approaches to things that we might have, questioning traditional approaches, and exploring how we can contribute to the collective liberation of those in need. So overall, this Aquarius stellium will definitely likely kick off very important and noticeable shifts within us, especially for anyone with Aquarius placements. And it will be observed definitely by the collective as well. Next up, in terms of transits, for anyone who's been longing for a great chance to just loosen up and let go of the more serious stuff in life, then Venus squaring Jupiter at the time of this full moon will be coming at perfect time. Now, this is because when we see Venus and Jupiter coming together in this way, though it is in a squared aspect, which is not the most, benefic or supportive sometimes, this transit can actually make us feel a lot more optimistic and carefree and a lot more open to just loosening up a bit. But on the flip side, this transit can also make it feel a bit harder to implement any sort of discipline and stay focused on any responsibilities. And this is because we see Venus, the planet of love, relationships, and collaboration, having this square off with Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion. And when we see that these astral bodies come into a square aspect like this, they're usually known to present a little bit more friction or roadblocks between the areas of our lives that these planets influence. And because of this, we might see potential slowdowns or even pushbacks when we try to push too hard to get to work or get more serious things completed, resulting in us oftentimes kind of realizing maybe we need to take a step back from it and let loose and take a breather before we try to tackle it again. So overall, this Venus-Jupiter transit will be one that can definitely remind us of the power of slowing down, pausing on projects to kind of let it breathe, and then coming back when there's less tension or mental blocks. And sometimes it can even be helpful to take breaks when it comes to work or even disagreements in our relationships. Venus is involved in this. And for our final transit at the time of this full moon, we see that Venus will be conjuncting with Mars. Now, this is the type of transit that is known to spark passion and drive when it comes to our relationships. And with Mars and Venus being in the sign of Aquarius, there will already be this air of creativity and themes of maybe wanting to evolve or innovate and connect with our community in the process. So on one side of the coin, this transit can definitely spark intense love and infatuation in any new or existing relationships, really offering us an opportune time for even rekindling things. But we can also tend to notice an increase in shared passion between our collaborators or even family members when it comes to work or generally just working with anyone. And from a more collective or community perspective, we might notice an inner calling for more socializing and community. Or we might notice more invitations and even events sort of beckoning us to come out and connect. But overall, this very energized and beautiful transit coupled with this Virgo full moon is really highlighting that through community connection and support, we'll likely have an easier time creating any sort of structure, nourishment, or consistency that we might be seeking. And really, sometimes it's through giving and receiving our own unique perspective through community that we tend to realize that a lot of the solutions that we've been seeking were right in front of us all along. And by the way, if this video is resonating with you, don't subscribe. I'm learning that the algorithm likes when you hit the like button. So just hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it as it tells the YouTube algorithm that you like content like this and it supports my work. And don't forget to check out the retreat. I'm so excited. Tickets go on sale on the 20th and I want you to get all the information you need to come with me. All right, so in terms of any sort of full moon rituals and aligning with this energy, reflecting and seeing if there's anything that you might feel called to release in the realms of Virgo can be helpful at this time. So this can look like exploring our relationship with balance, what it looks like for us to feel balanced, and what it looks like for us to feel grounded and have structure in our life and schedules. And because this is a full moon, and anything that we might set intentions for right now to release and let go of, anything that might be a hindrance to those things that I just mentioned, if we choose to sort of release them during this full moon, maybe during a ritual or anything like that, as the light wanes from the surface of the moon, so too can the energy around anything that we're seeking to release also wane. Next up, let's talk collective perspective. So this is a segment where I'll talk about a few ideas for us to engage in our communities, give back in terms of a humanitarian effort or volunteer efforts. in ways that are in alignment with the themes of these astrological events that I'm talking about. So the first one is working with and engaging with homeless shelters. So homeless shelters can provide temporary housing for people who are experiencing homelessness. And they usually offer things like food, clothing, and other basic necessities, as well as services like job training, counseling, and healthcare, which I think is such a powerful aspect of it. And because it's such a multifaceted effort to support people who are experiencing homelessness, there are a lot of different ways that we can help within those realms. So exploring that can be very helpful, and it can also help you to connect with other people who are interested in supporting their community on a local level. As always, I've provided collective perspective resources in the video description where you can find websites to connect with your local homeless shelter organizations. And next up, let's dive into these journal prompts. So what I will do is I will read them out, and you can also find them in the video description. If you have your Auraline Astrology Planner, you can go ahead and flip over to the dedicated Virgo Full Moon journal prompt area for the month of February, and you can write these things out there. So I'll go ahead and read these out, and then we'll come back. What areas of your life feel like they're the most in order right now? And what areas feel like they aren't? What has your relationship with structure, consistency, and balance been like throughout your life? So for example, has it brought you peace? Has it felt easy or hard to achieve? Has it come in seasons? What are your favorite things to do or experience that nourish you? So some examples of this can be cooking for yourself, going for walks, being in community, or getting a massage. And finally, is there anything that you're ready to release during this full moon? All right, y'all, I hope that you enjoyed those writing prompts. And if anything came up for you that you feel called to share in any way, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. And if not that, if you made it to the end, I'd love if you commented 3 mountain emojis. If you made it to the end, I'll know that you're a real one if you commented that. And again, I am so excited about this retreat. Be sure to click the link in the description box to learn all the details of it, the exact schedule we'll have in Thailand, exactly what we'll be doing, the workshops, the hikes, the kayaking, the exploration. I'm so excited about it, and I'm so grateful to Trova Trip, who I'm collaborating with, to host this. And be sure to turn on your notification bell for this Sunday when I will be doing a live Q&A talking all things retreat. So you'll be able to ask me live any questions that you have. And by the way, if you have any questions right now about the trip, comment them down below and be sure to include the keyword question in your comment, because that'll help me find them in the sea of comments. And I'll be sure to add them to my list so I can answer them during the live stream. And if you want updates and details, I'm going to be on my Instagram page, Auraline Shop, where I will be sharing all the details of every single day of the retreat, what we'll be up to, and also answering questions on there between now on the 20th when tickets go on sale and really until the retreat. But with all of that said, I am sending you all my love, and I will see you at the live stream, but I will wrap up this video with my favorite quote, and that is, be gentle with yourself, because life is about the journey, not the destination. All right. Bye, friends.